got three Joes tonight. We're going to be talking about 1981 Wrestling All-Stars, a great set that came out in the magazine. We're happy to have Joe on the show tonight. He's a John Stark super collector. You know, he knows I'm into wrestling cards. And he showed me this magazine of stuff that wasn't cut out. And, you know, a few months later, here we are, and he's graded the set, and he has the whole entire set graded. So talk more. You were telling me before there's some interesting things about that set.
As far as I know, I didn't know much about this set whatsoever. I was familiar with the 1982 All-Star set and the 1983 All-Star set, which wasn't WWE. It was like territories. And Joe, I think you know that set pretty well. You know, the Hogan rookie card, the yellow border. There's some others in there. But this 1981 Wrestling Superstars cards that were in this particular magazine, you could call it the actual rookie card or pre-rookie cards of a lot of these guys from the 1982 set. So they don't really have anything like, you know, that have to do with each other because they're two completely separate things. But I'll tell you real quick, I'm really big into garage sales, estate sales. I go all the time. And, it's a hobby of mine. I've been doing it for a long time. And I came across this particular magazine. And it wasn't until I got it home until I realized what I had. Because when I was just, looking up the stuff I got. And, this is one of the last things I looked up because I didn't think it was anything too crazy. I just liked it because it was, it was a cool cover and stuff like that. But I looked up the particular issue and I'm seeing like comps like $1,000, $2,000 for the magazine. I'm like, what is this? Well, $1,000, $2,000 for a magazine? Like, this is crazy. So I'm looking at, the little bit further research shows that the rookie cards of Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, Kerry Von Erich, and 44 total cards are in this magazine. And it's just paper stock. It's just paper. There is no, card stock. And I'm like, oh my God, like I've stumbled upon this, grail. And there doesn't seem to be too many of these magazines out there. And so yeah, that was pretty amazing find.
That's awesome. And you had the whole set graded. Did PSA give you any trouble?
It's a very small pop report when it comes to each individual card. For some of the cards, I have the only pop report. So, I think maybe there's about 6 or 7, including like Larry Zbyszko and some of I guess more mid card guys that only have there's only one card in the pop. So I have the only complete set. I decided to grade it, to cut the cards and grade them because I was kind of getting like some low ball offers on like eBay. I had put up the magazine. I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just grade it and have something unique? Because you see very rare, you don't see too many of these 1981 Superstars cards anywhere, because the magazine is just tough to find. And so I decided to cut them and submit them. And the grades were kind of all over the place. I think when it comes to PSA, they I kind of believe that they have some population control going on. Like, just for example, all the cards we cut them like tried to make them as perfect as possible. They all look pretty much the same. Maybe they look at some discoloration. I don't know exactly what they're looking for. For example, the highest Ric Flair is a 5 prior to mine being submitted. And I think there's like only about less than 20 in the whole population. Actually, I think it's a lot less, maybe like 10 in the whole population. The highest being a 5, and they gave me a 5. It's like as if they don't want to give me the six. So I'm the highest pop. And that happened in a lot of the, not a lot, but like maybe like 10 or so of the up 10 of the 44. Whereas like they gave me like a six, and they wouldn't give me the seven because that would have been the highest pop. It was a little frustrating. But overall I was pretty happy with you know, uh getting the whole set graded. I think it's a one of a kind thing at the moment.
Me and Joe always talk about that, especially with wrestling cards, because I feel like PSA, I don't think they're experienced like their graders with some of the older wrestling cards as they are with like obviously modern and baseball. I mean, there's some wrestling cards like you're talking about now that people don't even know, still don't know. It's like a hidden, tunnel with wrestling cards. So I feel like we've talked about that before, where like whatever the grade is, they kind of just give you that grade, and so it's funny you said that because we prior shows we talked about that. But so what was the highest grade card that you got out of all the cards?
The highest I got was an eight, and I want to say there was about 8 to 9 eights. I think the best of those eights being a Dusty Rhodes. And
Nice.
Dusty is a legend, and his son is doing amazing things. His sons, currently, and so yeah, the highest was an eight. If you look at pop reports, there are a few nines scattered between all the guys, and there's a couple of tens. One of the nines is Hulk Hogan, and that recently sold for about $4,500, the PSA 9. And I got a PSA 7 on the Hulkster, which is the second highest in the pop. So that was pretty cool. I can't complain about that.
Yeah. And the thing with those types of sets is that they're so rare that the graders they don't see them that often, and they're working with anything, the less familiar you are with anything, the less consistent it's going to be, I feel. It's like when you send guys, I send a lot of 90s cards. I've kind of given up on some of it because they don't see those cards all the time. They're seeing 2023 Prism and these modern cards and Topps Chrome, so especially something like that, like, there's obviously familiarity with the Wrestling All-Stars 82, but with 81, like how often are guys grading these cards? Is it the same person? So that's the whole thing. And absolutely population report. There's no question.
I'm not sure if the glare is going to kill this. Yeah, it's not really working too well. But if you do notice, we tried to leave the line all the way around.
What size are those?
This is an oversized. These things, when they came back, it's in a huge box. There's in 4 boxes. The thing must weigh like 20 pounds. It's like the size of my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I believe they were postcard size.
And it's blank backs.
They actually do have.
Oh wow!
A little write up on the back.
Yeah, those are wild. Yo, I just don't even remember seeing them. If I did, I didn't really pay attention to them, but that's just such a different. Can you put it up one more time?
Yeah, the glare's kind of killing it, but
maybe turn it to the side a little, like tilt. Yeah, just kind of get a look. That's a crazy shot, though.
So that's the Hulkster, and that got a 7. And so with the cutting process, we tried to leave the lines. Everything was looking pretty sharp. I mean, we were looking at similar ones where it looked like people took an X-Acto knife and they cut them, and they were getting 5s. And I got like a 4. There were some lower end cards, but I got like a 4, a 3, and one came back an authentic. So it's like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, because you did everything the same,
everything.
and so
they're all from the same magazine.
You know what you did. and then you see the grades, and someone's actually, it's almost like someone's telling you you didn't do this on this one, but you did, you know. So it's like it's
Yes,
tough when you do that. I know the feeling, and but you don't know what. My thing is like with the graders, like we were talking about, you just don't know who you're getting. I mean, I wish there was like a way for certain cards, especially wrestling or certain things that they had set, and maybe they do. But I feel like, at any time you have this like an amazing collection, and you just don't know who your grader is, and you don't, and that's why like sometimes you see like certain cards, like a Mickey Mantle could be like a 4, and then if you look at a 7, and it's like the same card, but it's like now it's a $20,000 difference, on the high end cards, and it's like that's why some people just don't believe in the grading side, and I get that. A lot of the
I get
OGs,
it.
they just don't care, So I mean, but that's
I
the thing with
totally get
something
it.
like that. You just hope. I mean, you just hope you get some cards back that fit what it is. So it's great that you got the Hogan, you got the Dusty Rhodes. So I mean, that's all you could ask for. I mean, at least you get a few big names and some good grades.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I mean, check this out real quick. I
Mhm.
got this for $30. You want to talk about a card that's like, this is a Lawrence Taylor rookie. It's a
Mhm.
3. I don't know how this is any kind of a 3. The card is like, I don't know, but like it just blew my mind when I bought it from my dude in the LCS in Pennsylvania. He's like, yeah, this is like an anomaly. I'll give it to you for $30. I was like, all right, it's nicer than my 7. It's nicer than my 7.
Would you consider
So
printing it just to see if it would?
I don't even care, bro. Like I
Yeah.
have it. You know what I mean? Like, well,
Mhm.
LT's one of my favorite players, so I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
If it was like if the card, if it was like a sick Montana or something that was like more valuable, maybe. But even then,
Hmm.
oh, I can't find anything wrong with this card. But like Joe said, it's you don't know who your grader is. It could be inconsistent. You never
Very
know. Like
consistent.
Friday, you're probably getting the PSA 9 on a Friday. If it's a Tuesday, guy might give you a
Yeah.
7.
It's human.
Serious.
It's just humans, It's like,
Yeah.
human error happens. It's like you never know what's going on with that guy that day. I was against grading for, I mean, pretty much my whole life up until about maybe 3 years ago. I really never wanted to get anything graded. My Starks collection, nothing's graded, except for one card now that I bought graded, the PMG, one of my precious metal Starks is graded, but other than that, like I never really wanted to get anything graded, but um, I started sending some few things in, and it's kind of a thrill in itself to see what grades you get, and obviously it boosts value, and that's cool. So, but yeah, like when things like this happen, like the inconsistency, it just kind of makes you wonder a little bit, like, well, this one got a 7, this one got authentic. It's from the same magazine, what's really going on here. Like I'm not sure. I wish I knew what they were looking at. There's not subgrades like BGS has or anything like that, so you really have no idea what they're looking at, especially when you look at that LT. It's like, what's going on? There's no explanation. So yeah.
But look, the set that you got, that is so awesome. What are you looking to sell it, or are you looking to hold it? I think that's a really just cool thing to at least hold it for a minute, man. That
Yeah.
thing's
I mean, eventually I'll probably will. I think someone might appreciate it more than I do, but right now, yeah, I'm holding it for now. There are, there's just such cool cards. Like the way I got them was like just, it was such a fluke. I'm at an estate sale, and I was picking up some really cool stuff. And this was like, I'm going through a bunch of magazines and stuff. I'm just kind of like throwing it into my IKEA bag. And I take this thing home, not realizing what it was, and and it's this rare wrestling card set. And I love wrestling. I always have since I was a kid. And you know, it's so cool like how it happened, and now have like one of a kind item is a cool thing as well.
Well, that part of it is how it happened. Joe could tell you. I opened a box of some old, I forgot what it was, but I pulled a Macho Man auto live. We opened this thing, and I was gonna sell. I bought the box, and I was gonna break it. Or I was gonna maybe flip it. And then Joe was like, "Yo, this doesn't come. You have to keep this. Like you have to rip this." So we were like, "All right, let's go live." And I hit the Macho auto, like on card auto. Like it's like, but like in my mind, it was amazing. But like I like was like, you know what? I'd rather maybe flip this and get something I really want. And I found a perfect guy who was a Macho collector, and he was looking for this card forever. And I actually felt better that he had it because I got into like a Macho collector. Like, what's
Oh, that's
better than
awesome.
that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like
Yeah.
you're like helping someone to fulfill his like Grail card or fulfill his set of Macho autos. So it was like, stuff like that, man. Sometimes that's a great feeling in a hobby where you could just like, hey, man, I helped someone along the way. Yeah, it was a cool moment. I have it live on video. I could watch it anytime, but I helped someone out. So like maybe one day you'll do the same if you sell the set, or even I don't know if you'll break it down or if you sell it as a whole set, probably. But
I do actually, I have it listed at an incredibly high price right now, just to see like what, see if like I would get any offers yet or anything like that.
sure.
But yeah, I do have it listed, and I have to ask: is that from the Macho Man auto? Is that from the WCW Nitro set?
No, it's from the it's gonna drive me crazy. Joe, do you remember what
94
set that was from?
Yeah, it's a 1994 Action Packed.
Action
Action
Pack.
Pack. Oh wow, that's crazy one to pull.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Crazy.
early
Joe almost lost it because like when I was doing it, Joe was drinking a beer, he wasn't looking, and I couldn't even believe it because what they do is I didn't know this either. They have like a white card, like just like a filler card before it. So when I saw that card, I was like, what the hell is this? And then the Macho Man was right behind it with the certificate of what, it was just like, I couldn't even believe it because like, who the hell, this box, I got this off eBay. Like this thing was sitting, who knows where for how long. And there's a Macho auto sitting in there. It was wild.
That's awesome.
It was crazy. Yeah. I sent it to PSA. I mean, they gave me like an 8, I think an 8 grade and a 7 grade or an 8 auto. It wasn't that crazy, but like you said, the pop on that, they're not going to give me anything. They're just not giving me anything higher than that. I mean, but it was cool, Mo. It was a cool moment, very cool moment to even probably the craziest pull I've ever pulled. So I have to say, I'm happy that I recorded it and we did it live on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was probably the craziest. I'm gonna say that might have been the craziest live wrestling pull in history. Cause like maybe somebody pulls something nuttier, like from a Prism box and new stuff.
Yeah.
All right, pull a gold Prism or some shit. I get it. That
Not as
comes with
fun.
20 G's or something. But like for vintage, or not vintage, but like 90s era, like I don't think I've ever seen a live pull. It was just insane, man. I had to get up and walk around. I was so happy for Joe. Like it was insane. Like I pulled it. It was just because those are super rare. And like, you get a box of that, it's expensive, and then you pull the Macho, dude. That's what keeps
sitting in that box since 1994.
Yeah.
That's what was crazy. And you don't even know what those cards, if they're like stuck together, if they're brick. I just took a shot because those boxes don't come up often. So when I saw it, I was like, had it on my watch list, just watching. I threw the guy an offer, and he was like, "Yeah, right." And I was like, "Oh shoot!" I was like, "All right," but hey, it was wild. It was good stuff, man. It's fun. It's the same thing like with you. You just like magical moments with things that I'm thinking. I'm picturing you at that estate sale, like just coming across this and kind of not knowing, and then getting home and like, yo, what is this? What is this? But like Joe said, I'm happy that you did grade them because like that's the cool part of it, man. Because they're so rare, and just to have a whole graded set of something like that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, thanks, man. I thought the same.
Question: I don't want to forget. You said you were a wrestling fan when you were younger. Like
Yes.
who is your, like when you came into wrestling as a fan? Who was your guy?
There were definitely a few. Probably Sting was up there. Like I kind of was really love the like WCW. I was kind of a WCW guy. Also loved ECW as well. So Sting was definitely there. I liked Raven a lot. I thought he was kind of cool. Macho Man, definitely. Ric Flair. But I think Sting was probably my guy. I actually have a nice autograph of Sting too. Uh, but yeah, those are my guys. I was a WCW guy for sure, but I think Sting was probably tops for me.
Do you watch any modern wrestling?
I do. I off and on. Like I get into it. I fall off.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's just a little bit too cookie cutter for me.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I grew up in like the Attitude Era, and there's so much crazy stuff going on, especially with ECW. Like it was pretty like some raw stuff to like watch when you're like 11,
Crazy.
12, 13 years old. And like, you kind of watch it now, it's so watered down. It just kind of like makes you long for what used to be. But they have a lot of good stuff going for them in WWE, and then AEW is not bad. And at least there's some sort of competition. TNA is still around. So, I still, check in here and there. There's definitely super talent out there. These guys like Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, uh, they're just, doing, great stuff, Cody Rhodes. And then you still see some of these guys still doing their thing. And I forgot to mention Chris Jericho is definitely one of my top guys. I forgot to say him, and he's still doing his thing, and I love still listening to his podcast. I think he's one of the best. I watched him come up in WCW, and then when he went to WWE, is one of the most historic entrances uh that you could possibly see, like the pop of the crowd when he came to WWE. Like not a lot of people knew he was coming. Now, there was obviously rumors and stuff, but one of the big, if you YouTube that pop from the crowd, it was nuts when Jericho came on Raw. Yeah, he's awesome, and I love his band Fozzy too. He has a good band in Fozzy.
Hey, I got to go back into the set real quick.
Sure.
Do you have a favorite card out of that set?
It's got to be the Hogan. I
The
mean,
whole
yeah, I mean that one. Uh, the pre I you it's the rookie card. You call it a pre-rookie card. Decent grade. Um, it's just something you don't see every day. But I think the set as a whole is too cool, man. Like some of the names Joe was just saying, like the Iron Cheek's in there. Then you have like all those international guys like Ivan Putski and they're all in there, like the territory guys, and that's like wrestling history. Like Abdullah the Butcher is in there, like Terry Funk is in this set. Larry Zabisco, like these guys had long careers. They had the managers, the Grand Wizard, it's cool stuff, Killer Khan. There's a lot of good stuff. I have some of the keys right here. Unfortunately, my lighting is weird, but if you guys want to see real quick, this is like the ad that was inside like the first page.
Awesome.
Yo, what was it? So what was the name of the magazine?
It's called Wrestling Superstars.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it was just I forget what month it was, but it was just, I think it was like a subscription type magazine. Like there was a lot of magazines, wrestling magazines in the 80s, and this was one of them. And one of them happened to have like these cutout cards. And by chance I found one. They're out there. I see them online for ridiculous amount of money. Here's the Flair that got the 5. I'm sure there's a better way I could do this.
You sent me some on Instagram. I'll put them
Yeah.
I'll put them up.
I'll just go through a few real quick. Jimmy Snuka,
Oh shoot.
Andre the Giant. Now he has some cards before this, actually. I think he's got like a 77 or something like that.
Yeah, he's got some Japanese, like 74. He's got some old,
That
yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Ricky Steamboat,
Man.
Hussein Arab, also known as the Iron Sheik. I mean, look at this thing.
That's crazy. Yeah, these photos are, that's the thing too. The photos are amazing. I mean,
They're cool. And on
yeah,
the
they
back,
really are, man.
it says who their best match and their most hated opponent are. Then you got the Dusty, which is a cool one with the NWA belt.
That's awesome.
And just a few more. Our man Terry Funk.
Look at that with the afro.
And Bob Buckland. Like a lot of guys, like, like long
Yeah,
careers,
yeah. I mean, legends. You got the whole set is basically, I mean, majority of all, especially guys we grew up on. I know from my era, but I mean, those guys are legendary guys. I mean, it's just unreal, that set, man.
Mm-hmm. That stuff always drew you in. Like, it's just like that crazy type of thing. Like, it was different back then. They had that ability to draw a lot of people in, and they kind of lose that now. And like you said, Joe, like I say it all the time about the Knicks. You want to talk about, like, back in my day type thing. Like, I'm the biggest advocate for 90s basketball. Like, I thought that was the best thing going. Like, the 90s Knicks, I had to watch every game because I was hooked. The style of the play, the players, every game was must see TV to me. And as time went, I think I couldn't. There were, I could go like without watching the Knicks for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, but something about the 90s, just 90s basketball in general was just, I don't know, I thought it was the best. Like, and some people say, they were done with the 90s and all that stuff, but I don't think there's a comparison, to be honest. Like that, especially the Knicks with Starks, Ewing, Oakley,
Come on,
Mason,
Oakley, Mason.
X-Men. Come on. It was the best. What
It
a
was,
time to be in New York at that time, like as a New York sports fan. It was
well,
just,
they were New York. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Starks. He used to grab, go like this and grab the New York and go like that. And it's
Mhm.
amazing now because I got back into the Knicks because I like this team now because I like Josh Hart and I
Oh
like
yeah,
Russ.
they're
And
great.
they remind me. Listen, I'm not comparing them to the '90s. I'm saying, but like Josh Hart, he's
Yeah, they
New
have
York.
heart.
He's fire. He gets you fired up. And
Yeah,
Brunson, these guys are they're a joy to watch now. But comparing that '90s, like that '90s life with you had the enforcer Oakley and Mason Starks and Derek Harper, Charlie Ward. Come on, man. Like we like that was insane. Like if it wasn't for Jordan, we would have had a few rings. But
absolutely.
we
And
just couldn't
PJ Brown.
get Mike. It is what it is. Like everybody, we weren't the only ones. But man, what a time, man. What a time. It's
What a
funny.
time.
My favorite player growing up was Mark Jackson. And I saw Mark in the airport maybe like 15 years ago. And I ran up on him and he was with his son. And I said, Mark, listen, don't want to bother you. Never met you, but you were my favorite player growing up. And he looked at me. He goes, "I was your favorite player?" I said, he goes, "Not Patrick." I said, "Nah, you." I said, "You were my." I said, I started used to do this thing at the free throw line where you put your hand up like this. I said, used to do the airplane spins, the teardrops, used to post guys up. And he's dying laughing. He goes, "Oh yeah, I must be your favorite player because you're not supposed to know all that stuff." But he was so cool, and it made me just love him more because he sat and talked to me for like 10 minutes, like regular. And it was like, man, see that when you like somebody as an athlete or even as a musician or even actor, whatever, and you meet them and they're regular, that
Yeah,
just sends it on a whole nother level of like appreciating their craft and who they are.
absolutely. That's too cool. That's a great story.
Joe, what's the craziest John Stark piece of memorabilia you got? What's the craziest John Stark thing you have? Or like a few of the crazy.
Let me grab it real quick.
Nice.
That's
awesome.
I have it on my mantle over here. This is probably my favorite thing. This is a ticket stub from the first game he played as a Knick.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a full ticket, and I got it signed by him in person. And I met him at Bleecker Trading in New York, and he was doing a signing. They invited me, and I brought my whole card PC with me, and I was sharing my cards with him, and we were looking at it. We're having a great convo. He signed my ticket. It was just incredible, memorable night for like, imagine like meeting your PC guy and
Yeah.
sharing your PC with him. It's like unheard of. It's pretty spectacular. Great memories. But yeah, dude, this is his first game as a Nick signed. And this is probably my favorite piece. I have like almost 900 different unique John Starks cards. I have so much of his stuff. Like it's just
That's
passionate.
a great piece, man. That's all. I love stuff like that. Like Joe knows, I always look for stuff. I love stuff like that. Like just first ticket. Plus you got it signed. Plus you got to meet him. I mean, like you didn't just buy it off eBay. I mean, that's cool.
Right.
You can't. That's priceless right there.
Yeah, I mean, I've bought hundreds of his autographs throughout the years. This one is my favorite, hands down.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, I got my John Starks signed hat and a Stefan Matteau signed puck above it in a little display up there. Like it's one of my favorite things. My
New
boy
York
gave it
Rangers.
to me. He's like, oh, because he gets Knicks tickets to my job often, and he's worked there for a long time. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. He's like, yo, dude, I got John Starks autographs. And I was like, what? He's like, I'll bring it to you. I'm like, all right. And I'm like, what do you want? And he's like, oh, just give me some Otani rookie. Give me an Otani rookie. So I gave him like an Otani rookie, an Acuna rookie. What else did I give him? A Juan Soto rookie. Just like base card stuff. But like, I gave him probably worth more than the hat was worth. But to me, that shit is like incredible. Just a hat.
Absolutely. I would do it.
It's so John Stark, the heart and soul of that team. Unbelievable dude. Like, I just love the fact that like he wasn't gonna let Jordan and these kids like push us around. Like he wasn't having it. Like that to have somebody on your side like that is like, bro, it's all good. It's all good. We're still gonna like be respected. You could beat us, but we're gonna be respected. And like that was just a sick rivalry, man. The Bulls, man. That team just gives me nightmares.
Charles
Just
Smith.
destroyed us.
Charles Smith is still irks my whole memory, man.
Yeah, he got swatted a bunch of times. I mean, Charles Smith was, he was a piece of the puzzle, though. He was there for us too. Like there was a lot of guys, man, on those '90s teams that were just even like the role players. The Herb Williams, like Hubert Davis, Greg Anthony off the bench, Charlie Ward. Like these
Anthony
guys.
Bonner, remember him?
Oh my God, yeah, dude.
He was like a Precious. That's who he reminds me of, like just a grinder. Like he'll be,
Yes.
Hustle, defense.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you need those guys. I like that kid Precious. I think he fits the team. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm. I think our bench is strong, man.
Yeah, this kid. What's his name? The guard we got. Everybody forgot about quickly now because this kid. What's his name?
Deuce.
Deuce, man. Like he ever since he got a chance to shine, he's really good. I didn't think he was that good watching him early. I was like, maybe he's like a little backup point guard, but this kid can score. He's a good player.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Joe, thank you for coming on the show. Appreciate your time, bro. We did like an hour with you, and that's awesome. And yeah, man, it was really cool to talk about those cards. And again, congratulations, bro. And we'll talk soon, brother.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me. I never met a Joe I didn't like.